I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. The first quarter of this year, Q1, did not go how I planned it or how I thought that it was going to go. I legit had plans. I set my intentions and my goals even before 2026. I had them in my mind, and then when January came, I started putting the goals together. I even set up a 12-week plan for myself so that I could complete certain goals at different phases of the quarter so that I could stay on top of the things that I needed to being able to meet those goals. And I was doing it that way because, in all honesty, from past experiences of trying to do all of the things at once, I knew that I kept setting myself up for failure in the past. I seen that those things never worked. And so I wanted to do something different. I had no idea that there was even a book called A 12-Week Plan. I had no idea that people were making quarterly goals. I honestly just wanted to have a better game plan than where I was at. And I thought about it, like, if I break it up into quarters, which is every 12 weeks, then it can make my life a lot easier. I can start implementing new habits, new skills, taking more accountability for things. And as I accomplish those habits, and because all of the habits that I was putting together were going to be towards my ultimate goals to be crossed off at the end of the year. And so if I had accomplished some habits within the first 12 weeks, let's use for example, then I would still keep up with those habits, but then now I would add on a few more. And we would start implementing those and start working on those and start growing those. And then every quarter would be a new set of habits and tasks to complete those habits, to then look at all of that at the end and say, these tasks led to completing these habits that led to completing these goals. Now that sounds like a whole lot, but you have to have the proper systems in place in order for you to get to your goal. You cannot just have goals and have no way of achieving them, because the goals will just be goals. They will collect dust just like anything else. If you buy an instrument because you're wanting to learn how to play it, but you just never pick it up, you never sign up for lessons, you never go on YouTube, you never go on Google and figure out what music notes are, then it will continue to collect dust. And it would just be almost like a waste of a purchase. And that's kind of how I look at goals. Before, they would just collect dust, and it was kind of like a waste of a goal to be set, and in a way, a waste of a year. So I fell off from something I never started. And I'm going to be really honest about what happened and what I'm looking to do differently this time. One of my biggest problems, I would say, this first quarter, as I've been reflecting, and I guess you can go along with me on this reflection of the first quarter of the year, the first 12 months, and where I was and how I ended up here. My thing was that I was doing way more planning than I was executing. And it is definitely a fault of my own. It's a fault of no one. But there were also some things that happened that made it so that I was feeling like I was stuck in this planning phase. For example, I started getting sick, I want to say maybe 2 weeks or so before Christmas of last year. My sinuses were killing me. This is the first time that I've had sinus pressure and sinus infection type of symptoms, in maybe 3 years or so. And so I had just came back from a work trip / birthday trip, and it was fantastic. And I just started feeling under the weather. So I started taking all the medicines and all of the things to try to help with the mucus and help with the headaches and all of that. And at one point, I felt like I was on the mend. I felt like things were great. And then my husband got sick from work. A couple of his coworkers were sick, and so he ended up getting sick. And then it's almost like whatever little piece of a germ that he had that didn't already align in my body at that moment just got implanted into me, and I went from fighting a sinus issue to having the flu and a sinus infection at the same time. And we're talking about this is fresh after New Year's. This was either the first full week of January or the second week of January. And like we all know, and like I've said in my previous video that I posted this week, January tends to come in hot every single year. Everybody is hot and ready for January. Like a Caesar's pizza. They set all of these things in motion to get it all done. And they put all of this pressure on themselves coming into the new year. And that first month of January was kind of like this space where you feel like you have to do all of the things in order to be accomplished for the year. And so me being in the second week of January and being sick and not able to work, not able to do anything and trying to fight this flu and this sinus infection at the same time, I kind of did put myself in this place of I felt defeated because I'm just like, well, dang, like, I know I'm trying to do things differently, but I can't even, walk for an hour every day if that was a goal that I wanted to set. I can't, get any workout in because I'm kind of couch and bedridden at this point. I can't get content out on Shorts and TikTok and even Instagram, on a weekly basis. And I can't get a weekly upload on YouTube because I'm sick as a dog, right? And so I started getting to the point where I was beating up on myself because I'm just like, well, dang, I'm already in the new year. And so I started feeling better and I went back to planning and I went back to like, okay, well, how do we pick up from where we left off here and what are we going to do and how we're going to do it and just working on these plans. But again, I never really executed much after that point. And then with the state of the world now and like everything online, my brain mentally went to mush because it's like everywhere I turn around, I'm seeing things that I don't want to see. I'm experiencing things that I don't want to experience. And I just didn't feel like social media was a place for me to spread my wings, enjoy my time, and be happy, So, kind of fell off the face of the earth because I just kind of felt like, why even bother? I started giving up on the things that I wanted to do for myself, not only just to try and be in a space of content creation and being an influencer, but also for my own personal self and the things that I see for myself and the woman that I'm being. Because we're not becoming this year. We're being the woman that we say that we are, right? And a part of that is knowing when to get up and dust yourself off and try again. And I just never really got to that point in the first quarter. The most that I did was start working on a Notion template. It was a free one that I obtained from a YouTuber here online. I made tweaks to it. I am not a Notion wizard. There's a lot of Notion that I still don't know, don't understand. And so great old AI ChatGPT came to the rescue and I would ask it certain things so it can tell me how to go about building this Notion template to fit me. Like I showed what it had in it and it told me like where I could rebuild off of some of those parts of the template and like what I can do to create new areas for my own personal version of the template. And we started working from there. All of that was fantastic. No qualms with anything that I was working on. But I never finished it. I never touched it again. I had a to-do list on my old Samsung phone, and I decided that I was going to leave that because it's already kind of there. Bones of it is there. It's from like all the years ago that I have tried to set tasks for myself with alarms to kind of give me blocks of time to get stuff done. And I never modified it. I looked at it maybe a couple times. I thought about what I wanted to change, what I wanted to add, but I never actually modified it to meet the needs, the habits, and the goals that I have now. Because 2026 me and the woman that I'm being is not the same 2025, 2024, 2023, and so on that I was trying to become. Do you get what I'm saying? And then we have the habit tracker. I think I pay for that on Apple. And I downloaded that Also, great suggestion of an app from another YouTuber that I just stumbled upon. They do monthly resets. They plan out, their month. Like they, if they have content that they know they need to post, they have that planned out. They have like whatever work they need and other activities. And I found that to be really inspiring because I'm just like, yeah, that's stuff I need to really actually be honing in on and actually doing for my own self. So I started watching the video because, why not watch somebody who talks about and loves productivity to help my own level of productivity and how to beat this mindset that I'm in where I want this and I want to work for it, but I keep hitting these type of mental roadblocks or, even can't prevent myself from getting sick, right? There's only but so much you can do. So I'm not even going to use that part, but just more so the mental block and giving up on a dream that I said that I wanted because of the mental space that I allowed myself to sink into because of, honestly, all the things that I've been seeing. So I just kind of did mental things to myself and I dug myself into this big old mental hole. But I say all that to say that I don't think that the first quarter of the year was a fail. I don't believe that I failed. There are so many people who feel like the new year doesn't start until spring, and that's because of the change of the season. And if that works for you, cool. But in my world, I don't think I failed. I feel like reflecting back on it now, I feel like it was a great opportunity to see what is real and what is not. I think it allowed me to see what was possible for me to be able to do in the parameters that I had. I think it allowed me the space to make all the necessary mistakes that I needed to make and to really see what really actually works and what doesn't. And that's what I want for every quarter, is to use a time to reflect on what worked and what didn't. And if something didn't work, not utilizing that time to beat myself up over it, but utilizing that time to more so grow from it, remove the things that didn't work in that process, and trying something else. That type of feedback will just let me be like, all right, so this didn't work. It just did not work. And I'm okay with the fact that it didn't work. Now, what can we do to see how we can make this same goal work? Does the goal have to change? Is the habits and the tasks assigned to it not something that I am actually capable of doing, and that I'm not putting 10,000 things on my plate to accomplish something that is only really meant for me? And I'm not going to drag that mindset of failure or incompleteness into this new quarter that has just begun. We've reflected, we see what didn't work, and now we're in a new space with new energy, and we can really just start on a clean slate. So what that means is I am not bringing any unrealistic routines, tasks, goals, days in my life into this quarter. If it's not realistic to be able to obtain that, erase it from my brain to never be thought of again. Nothing that is going to be overly complicated and that I actually don't use will be something that I will be doing or incorporating in any part of this new way of moving forward in my life. Not this quarter, not no quarter. So not a 75 hard challenge where you got to be outside, rain, snow, whatever conditions to complete that second exercise or that first exercise for the day. Absolutely not. I'm never going to put myself in a position like that again, where I'm compromising me as a human for a challenge that's 75 days out of my life, when I have a full 365 days in a year to really, really put effort into something else to maybe actually better my life. Nah, definitely not worth it. What I'm also not allowing myself to do in this quarter and any quarter moving forward is to be inconsistent. And consistency means something different for everyone else. But when I speak of consistency, I mean the things that I say that I'm going to do at the times that I say that I'm going to do them, I'm going to get them done. I am going to put the systems, the proper place to allow for the space for me to do it. I am not going to put myself in a position where I'm couch rotting, because that's what's been happening. Couch rotting and watching all kinds of different types of YouTube and doom scrolling, and then saying, oh, well, I didn't meet the goal, or I couldn't get done. I'll try again tomorrow. I'm tired of being in a position where I'm pushing myself off of tomorrow, and tomorrow comes and nothing ever changes. So we're not bringing that inconsistency into this new quarter, and we're not bringing in not holding ourselves accountable. Accountability is key to everything, and I'm finally in a space where I can say I'm going to be holding myself absolutely accountable for the things that I do or don't do. Like, there's no point trying to do all of the things that I want to do to better myself if I'm not going to hold myself accountable to doing the things to get it done. So accountability, me and you finna be best friends. And I'm definitely not going to bring in that pressure that everybody else puts on you, that I'm never going to put on myself ever again, of trying to get everything done in one go and burning yourself out to bits and pieces, and for who and for what. It just doesn't exist in my world at all. I'm at a point where simplicity is the biggest goal. I am trying to simplify everything to make my life easier, to make my year easier, and to be able to, like I said, hit the goals that I have. Which means that I'm actually going to be putting a huge focus on doing the things that actually matter and that I can stick to. And again, this all goes back to systems and having a system in place to help you properly execute that. And so I'm going to be finishing off my Notion template, revamping it if I need to, which I think I do. Some things that I can think of off the top of my head no longer align with me and the things that I see for myself going into 2027. So I'm going to work on finishing that. And that way it's easily accessible to me on the app. Because if you know anything about Notion, to really actually get into the nitty gritty of actually setting it up the way you want, you have to use a PC. There's not a lot of controls you can use on an iPad or on a phone to be able to get it to look and feel the way that you want. Because this is something that I'm going to be using every single day to not only track my progress, but to also utilize for the time blocks for when I should be watching TV versus when I shouldn't be, because I should be focusing on content creation. Or more so, if I have planned days and what days of the week that's going to be and what type of content I'm posting, and just keeping my life more organized. So I'm going to finally finish that. I'm going to finally revamp my to-do list, and I'm going to actually take the time and the patience to get these habits together. It's not about building something that's sexy, okay? It's not about building something that's social media ready. This is for me to be able to thrive and live my best life. And that's something that if you have been really strung and pulled in by this social media narrative of, all the workouts and wake ups and all of that, if that's something you've pulled yourself into because you feel like you need to tap into that to be the best version of yourself, and that's going to help you to get to your goals at the end of the year, I hope that you see this and you know that you can start off the year feeling and looking like the biggest hot mess in your own life, but you can take time to reflect on it, really sit in it, and change it. You don't have to accept what it is that you got right in front of you. You can change that. That lets you know that perfection is just not the goal. Maybe some of these people on social media, that's their goal, is to look perfect and to seem perfect. Perfection should not be your goal, and it's definitely not my goal this time. I'm not trying to be perfect at anything. I am just trying to live a life of consistency and discipline. And sometimes that comes with the face of imperfection. You're not always going to meet every requirement every single day of the week for a whole 365 days. I sure haven't. But taking that into account and allowing yourself to be human and allowing yourself to have sick days and, fall off track every now and again, it allows you to be human. It allows you to know that perfection just isn't something that's attainable, and you don't have to beat yourself up over it. Just know that this is what caused this to happen, or this was a time that you might have needed that rest that you didn't think you needed. And when you're able to bounce back, if it's like you're sick or something, then you come back better than ever. When I say better than ever, I mean better than ever for your own self. Come back better than who you were when you were last looking at yourself in the mirror. You should be achieving more, or to be better, at least 1% better every day. It don't got to be 50, and it sure shouldn't be 100, because that's perfection at this point. At least 1% better every day should be your goal. And I feel like that's the biggest goal that most people should have to strive for an entire year. Because there's so many areas in your life that you could be better at. And that 1% in each of those areas every single day, every single week, that adds up. So again, I'm not going to just be a talk about it. I'm going to be a be about it. Now, this isn't me redoing my whole entire system. This is just me doing, let's just say, a system cleanup for the new quarter. Looking at what I've already started with, thinking about the goals that I had set, and thinking about the ideas surrounding these, and trying to just do a little bit of a cleanup to make sure that this is as simple as it could possibly be, and it fits where I'm at in this new quarter, well, moving through the next 3 months, and making sure that I am on top of the game that I'm setting for myself. So, if I'm seeing anything here that's too complicated, it's finna go. This is not about perfection and being a perfectionist. This is about being a realist. And what's realistic for me is to really scope this whole thing out, see what works, what doesn't, and move on. What we're working on this quarter, and I think the theme for this quarter is going to be about getting myself on a track and not doing everything, just doing some things consistently. So yeah, that is I am right now. Not exactly the place that I thought I'd be in, but that is where I'm at. We are not starting over. This is not 2025 version of Shani sitting here and speaking to you and telling you how I failed at something and how I'm going to start over in the next week and I don't do it, or I do it and then fall off again. There is no redo button in this. And we're not starting over. What we're just going to do is we're going to, again, keep that reflection, think about the things that didn't work, and we're going to figure out how to do it better, and we're going to be better this time. And that's it. So, if the first quarter of the year just did not go how you planned, and it went complete bonkers, it looked diabolical, it was a mess, it was trash, all of that, just know, my friend, you are not alone. You have never been alone. There are so many people like us out here experiencing the same things. Maybe I'm just bold enough to really actually say what it is, and to really actually say that I don't feel like a failure at this. There are so many people that I have seen that have struggled in the same way, but they think they failed at something. You can't fail at something that you've created. You can learn how to pivot because you're the one who created it. So make the adjustments, pivot, shimmy over to the right or shimmy over to the left a little bit. Whatever it is that you got to do. Because this is something you're setting for you. Nobody else told you to sit here and do this. Nobody else told you these are things that you need to get done by the end of the year. This is not like this is your 9 to 5. This is your life, which goes longer than 8 hours in a day. So you didn't fail. Maybe you just need to work on the execution. And so if you're in the same boat as me, my friend, and you just needed to kind of utilize this quarter of the year as your refresh, we're going to get it done together. So I'm going to hold your hand virtually, and we're going to get this done, and we're going to keep each other accountable, because that's what a good neighbor would do. That's what a good friend would do. Okay? So let's do this. Are you in? Because I'm in. Let me know in the comments down below if you're locked in to the second quarter and you're making a promise to yourself that you're going to keep it simple, you're going to be as consistent as you can, you're going to start to build that discipline, and you're not going to strive to be perfect. If you mean that, comment that down below. Okay? Because ain't nobody failed nothing. We just got off to a rocky start. I mean, dang. We could do that. That can happen, right? Who said it can't? Whoever said it can't, they lied. So, if your head is also in your ass, this is also another sign. Go in there, however deep it is, and pull it out. Clean yourself off, and let's get to business.